However, there is a looming threat in the polar ice caps. A giant portal to the expanse is open, and it's up to a group of scientists and soldiers from all around the world to take care of the problem. The only really important things to note here is the fact that the MC from this game proves very fools, and that he faces off with the Demiurge, who's a shattered fragment of Yahweh. This implies that if you want to go with the true demon ending to Nocturne, the Demi-Fiend failed in his ultimate plan to eliminate Yahweh. After the crisis is averted by the MC and his team, then the nuclear apocalypse happens, which basically renders everything completely pointless. Every country around the world is destroyed at this point, except for Tokyo, of course, which is shielded by a thick firmament, which is actually the spirit of Masakado called upon by the main character Shin Megami Tensei 4 in the previous series. The events of Shin Megami Tensei 4 play out, and it could possibly lead us into either the new HD SMT game we're getting, or the new SMT 3DS game that was announced recently by Atlas. Though, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, because the important thing is the first divergent timeline of puzzle happens during SMT4, which leads to the events of Shin Megami Tensei 4 Final, which is a what-if scenario if a boy named Nanashida is revived by the demon Dogma. This small event creates a divergence large enough to create a pocket universe that acts as an alternate reality or alternate scenario to SMT4. Now that we got mainline out of the way, let's backpedal over a little bit and tell you some of the other timelines. The first one that most people are probably familiar with, and the most popular one, is the Devil Summoner / Persona universe, which is created by Raito Kuzunoha the 40th. The Kuzunoha is a clan of secret agents, essentially, who work under Yatagarasu, who serve to protect Tokyo. Raito Kuzunoha the 40th lives in a reality where SMT 1 and 2 happen. Feeling as if he needs to fulfill his calling, he goes back in time through the Amala network and attempts to divert SMT 1 and 2 from happening, although his methods are a little unorthodox, which leads to the protagonist of the Raito Kuzunoha games, Raito Kuzunoha the 14th, to stop the 40th from fulfilling his plans. Eventually, the 14th is successful in his endeavor, and a little later finds himself face-to-face with a moral decision with Lucifer. If Raito decides to side with Lucifer, the world is recreated and the events of Nocturne play out. Except in this version of Nocturne, Dante isn't around anymore, but rather Raito Kuzunoha the 14th. In the end, however, the Demi-Fiend chooses to reset the universe to the way it was, but without the influence of Yahweh or Lucifer, and Raito is sent back to his proper time period, probably accepting his mistake and doing it right this time. Now the Demi-Fiend is returned to his human lifestyle, and Raito continues his sleuthing. All in the same timeline, just different time periods, if you know what I mean. All of that aside, though, if Raito avoids Lucifer altogether, the timeline just continues as it is, and Nocturne's conception doesn't happen. After a few more Devil Summoner games and the first Persona game, we run into Persona 2 Innocent Sin. In this game's ending, the protagonist, Tetsuya Suo, is left with a conflict. Forget his friends and make the villain Nyarlathotep cease to exist, or refuse to give up his memories and face his punishment. He obviously chooses the latter. This decision leads to Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, which nullifies the events of Innocent Sin and overwrites its place as the sequel to Persona 1 and the prequel to Persona 3, which is evidenced by a couple of Persona 2 characters appearing on a TV show inside of Persona 3. During the middle of Persona 3, our main characters have to go through some time-traveling shenanigans to meet the main character Persona 4, while at the same time as the events of Catherine may or may not be taking place. After the events of Persona 4, we reach its epilogue, where a divergent timeline of shitty spin-offs happen instead of a real game. Oh hey, there's Persona 5, not coming out until April, are you? And with that, we've covered the two major Megami Tensei connected universes. This leads us into some smaller timelines, starting with the Devil Survivor timeline, which is created after the alleged conception that happens after SMT2, and not after Nocturne. Here, humanity has to face another one of God's ordeals. We assume then that the main character of Devil Survivor 1 becomes the King of Bel and wages war against Yahweh, which causes his fate to be similar to the true demon ending of Demi-Fiend, leading to his defeat and the creation of the Devil Survivor 2 universe, which still has some ties to the original universe according to some lines of dialogue from Black Frost in the game, who is a character that appears in the first game. All in all, I think we're pretty set here. I think this covers the entirety of the Shin Megami Tensei timeline, and I'm definitely not purposefully ignoring a certain series of games that form part of the timeline yet have become the subject of ridicule amongst the years for awkward inclusions in the franchise. Oh, and who am I kidding? The Devil May Cry franchise totally takes place before Nocturne. And that pretty much covers my interpretation of the Shin Megami Tensei. I know some of you guys would probably be like, that's wrong. Some of you guys would probably be like, that's right. But all I ask is you guys to keep it nice and clean in the comment section, and I hope you got something entertaining out of this video, regardless of either. This has been my January video of the year of Shin Megami Tensei. Here's a hint on what my next video. What does a guy with sexy glasses, a guy with sexy stubble, and a group of edgy writers have to do with each other? Well, until next.
Ogre sword! Lateral move! Let's keep it up!
You know, I kind of doubt that when Swiss sociologist Carl Gustav Jung first coined the term persona 100 years ago, he knew that his life's work would one day help spawn one of the most beloved JRPG franchises of our time. And yet we're here, social linking, demon contacting, dancing, battling, dungeon crawling, fan game making, Crunchyroll using, hacking, translating, twittering, and what else there's to do in the unique world of Persona. Seriously, there's actually a lot of things to do with this game. When's the theme park coming? And yet, despite all the content we have, all the dedication and love for this series, why is there still so much stuff about this series that nobody ever bothers telling us? Well, time to rectify that. Hey there everyone, I am Nannyline, and we're gonna dig for the things that got lost in context. Considering how integral a part of the lore Personas are to the franchise, I mean, the freaking games are called Persona. Here, it's right on the box. Have you ever stopped to realize how little we are actually told about what Personas are in the games? Of course we know that they are power that can be used in battle in superhuman ways. After all, that's the whole point of the series. But when it comes down to what they are, all we're left with is...
Persona. It is the power to summon the selves within you, the gods and the demons you harbor.
And...
A shadow is suppressed power, and when controlled by one's ego, it becomes a persona.
But what does any of this actually mean in context of the lore? How does a shadow, someone's innermost dark side, become a mask or gods and demons inside our heart? And how does any of this relate to the term persona? Persona is defined by the dictionary as the aspect of someone's character that is presented or perceived by others. But it's also a psychological term, or a term for a character or a role adopted by an actor or an author. This isn't a coincidence either. Carl Gustav Jung based the term on the word for masks that actors in Greek tragedies wore in their performances. The Greek verb personare means to sound through, which is exactly what these masks were there for. Through them, the actors let their characters' voices sound out to the audience. Jung used this term to refer to a person's personality as it is presented, rather than its whole, true entirety. Jung believed that the human mind doesn't simply consist of a single personality, but rather that it is a complicated system of countless mini-personalities called complexes, which constantly cluster together, split, replace each other, and change in their construction. You can imagine them as ice crystals swimming in a pool of water. They're all made of water the same, but they're still distinct from each other, right? Three of the largest complex clusters that, according to Jung, all people have in common are the Ich, or ego, the center of our consciousness through which we experience ourselves and can basically, well, be aware that we exist. The shadow, which is composed of complexes that are disadvantageous to us in our lives and have thus been separated from the ego and made unconscious. And the persona. The persona is the complex that controls how we present ourselves to others, and subsequently how they perceive us. Just as the game says, the persona is the mask we wear when facing the world around us. It filters our thoughts and causes us to act in ways that fit with the role we want to have in society. For example, people who want others to always be amused around them will have a happy, upbeat persona that allows them to act uplifting and humorous, even when the mind behind it is actually sort of kind of down in the dumps. The persona is close to the ego, but not part of it. In fact, at least parts of it are directly connected to the shadow, or at least just as unconscious as it. This unconscious aspect of the persona causes us habits, makes us lie between our teeth, or even put on fake smiles without realizing we're doing it. Also, since the persona actually primarily exists to balance out the influence of the shadow, which would make us act like permanent jackasses to everyone around us if it went unchecked, the persona and shadow are directly complementary. Every trait the persona shows is either the exact opposite of a trait in the shadow, or it exists to filter the shadow's whims in a way that allows us to express them without being, well, complete and utter douchebags. So basically, shadows and personas are opposites. Wait, didn't know what to say?
A shadow is suppressed power, and when controlled by one's ego, it becomes a persona.
I'd better try to make sense of this as much as I can. Getting back to the games, there's actually a good reason why personas and shadows are considered the same thing in it. Persona and shadow are different complexes, right, but as I have explained, they complement each other. One exists to balance out the other, and to power it. And that's exactly what the shadow of a persona user does to their persona abilities. It powers it, giving a negative aspect that creates a just as strong positive aspect. It's kind of a yin and yang thing, if you get what I mean. I mean, if you had nothing nasty to yourself, you wouldn't need a mask to filter it, right? Also, you probably either wouldn't be human or you would have apathy syndrome, but I'll get to that in another video. In the Persona 3 Clubbook, persona users are claimed to be people who have become aware of and face their own mortality. But I think that this rather specific formulation was chosen mostly to fit with the themes of the then latest installment into the series. The broader explanation is that persona users are people who are at least aware enough of their own unconscious traits and fears, including mortality and the fact that you can be kind of a douche now and then, to realize why their persona is the way it is. Because of that awareness, they are able to control their persona. In other words, you don't need to have physically met your shadow in order to become a persona user. It's enough to just be aware that your darker side exists and then have a trigger experience that calls your persona into action via mortal fear. And having a mind-changing encounter packed with a deity can definitely help too. So basically being a persona user means that you are a person self-aware enough to recognize your own fears and flaws and draw power from them to express yourself through. That way you can control the part of your personality that you express yourself through and make it your weapon, instead of having its unconscious aspect control you. Sounds like a good deal, right? Well, it is, aside from the fact that knowing that you're basically nothing but a jerk who will die one day is kind of depressing. There's a reason all these Persona 4 kids kept contemplating how useless and pathetic they are in their social links. Yeah. Maybe sometimes ignorance really is bliss, huh? However, a person can only grow by constantly learning more and more, rather than regressing back. This is where characters' personas evolve when they reach a new resolve. With their courage and resolve, their self-awareness has grown, and so has their ability to express themselves and control their persona. Yosuke, your taste in persona design needs work. I mean it, no offense. Caesar, really, Akihiko? A bit of a power trip there. Teddy, you have issues! Big phallic issue! You know what? I give up. watch a lot of TV, read a lot of comics, or play a lot of games, I'm pretty sure you've probably already seen a lot of tarot cards. Ah yes, tarot cards. They're just so convenient to use with their easily understood names and crystal clear symbolism that so many shows and movies and games just totally and utterly get absolutely everything wrong about them. Fortunately, Persona is not like that. Unfortunately, that's another thing where they've taken liberties with C.G. Jung's writings. Hey everyone, I am Nannyline. Now let's dig into the things that got lost in context. On our third venture into the marvelous world of Persona, I would like to take the opportunity to talk about one of the more distinguishing features of the game's style. Their prominent and surprisingly accurate use of the tarot arcana to signify people, demons, personas, and shadows. For the most part, the games adhere to a similar practice as most other media with this motif and limit themselves to using only their 22 trump cards, also known as the Major Arcana, though Persona 2 Eternal Punishment and Persona 3 do also use the much lesser known, far more numerous Minor Arcana as well. First of all, a little explanation on what tarot actually is. Basically, tarot cards are playing cards. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, I'll try to be serious now, but there are a lot of books and articles that try to pass off tarot as this mystical, God-given instrument of supreme wisdom, when in reality, they have the exact same origin as a deck of cards used to play poker. In fact, with some tricking, you can technically even use a full tarot deck to play poker. Poker in the Velvet Room. Now there's an idea. Tarot is actually an old French variation of today's playing cards, which itself came from other variations, such as the Italian tarocchi or the German variation known as tarot, which is primarily found in Austria. Fuck yeah, my country! Leopard common playing cards there are 4 suites of cards numbered from ace to 10, cups being the equivalent of hearts, spades are swords, quarters are wands, and diamonds are coins. There are also card cards, albeit they differ slightly from the modern playing card deck, with checks being named pages instead, and an additional card card, knight, existing between page and queen. However, what really sets tarot cards apart from today's common playing cards is the addition of 22 trump cards, which have a higher worth than any of the suit cards, thus making them valuable, trumps. Pretty obvious actually, huh? These 22 trumps are known in divination as Major Arcana, meaning great secrets. Numbered from 0 or unnumbered to 21 in most variations of the tarot deck, each of these cards is illustrated with an often very religiously charged image, which was what made these cards become as popular for fortune-telling as they ended up being. The illustrations and titles of these cards really do offer themselves up for it, since it's just so easy to code symbolism into them and interpret them in very meaningful ways. And, by the way, no, there's no Satanism whatsoever encoded in them. The majority of the symbolism is actually pretty standard Roman Catholic Christian law for the time. Well, I guess you could see the inclusion of a reference to the legendary female Pope Joan as offensive, but even that one got renamed. Now, I could go over all the illustrations and their meanings now, but since there's 22 of these things, it would just be very long-winded and take up the majority of the video, so I'll reserve that for a different video. For now, I'll just assume you're all familiar with at least some of the cards and their motives. What is done with tarot cards in divination is actually pretty simple. The cards are randomized and assigned to certain questions the person you are reading them for is asking. Once turned over and revealed, the person reading the cards uses the image on the card, its symbolism and its common interpretations, and thinks about how this could relate to the question that was asked, and how it could help resolve any eventual conflicts connected to it. Even if you do not believe in the supernatural, this method of using images and symbolism to inspire yourself to find a solution for a problem or put unease you might have to rest can actually be pretty effective when applied right, since every reading is individual, dependent on your specific situation, and based more on your personal interpretation rather than giving you exact guidelines.
That again.
Oh, but of course, I know what the real question that all of you are asking now is. But Nanny, what does any of this have to do with Carl Gustav Jung? Let me explain. In some of Jung's writings, he went into closer detail regarding how the archetypes of the collective unconscious have manifested themselves in our imagination throughout the ages. I have already touched upon the archetypes in a previous video, so go watch that if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Alongside recurring templates in religion, deities, demons, and vocations, he also named tarot cards as an example, claiming that the images on the tarot are distantly descended from the archetypes of transformation. His idea was that all methods of divination were actually methods of tapping into the collective unconscious that humanity has employed since ancient times to solve their problems. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, he brought this idea up 1 or 2 times, however, he never really elaborated on it too much, which may have something to do with the fact that Jung himself was more partial to the I Ching, a Chinese collection of symbols for divination to which he attributed that same archetypal meaning. Now, who really went on to connect tarot to Jungian psychology was not Jung himself. It were Jung's followers, who, based off his theory of archetypes, took a closer look at the interpretation of tarot cards and tried to figure out how the arcana apply to our lives as archetypes, which involves considering both the images on the card as well as their common meaning in divination. The general consensus eventually reached was that the arcana from 0 to 21 actually encoded the process of individuation, Jung's idea that people can gain a higher level of awareness and self-fulfillment by going inward and exploring, conversing with, and accepting their own unconscious parts of themselves. Does this sound familiar already? Yeah, this is pretty much what the method used to gain personas in the games, most obviously Persona 4 was based on. Individuation is often described as a journey with different stages that one needs to pass through again and again to eventually reach enlightenment, which in tarot terms would be the arcana number 21, the world. All cards in between the Fool and the World are seen as either phases, situations, or encounters in one's life that have an impact on it and call forth a change of some sort. Seeing how by Jungian logic tarot cards are actually an instrument that people have been using to communicate with the unconscious and develop their own personality to eventually become enlightened, Jung's followers looked at them and decided, hey, what worked for people back in 18th century Europe works for us, and started writing books on how to use tarot cards for meditation and to analyze your own psyche and mental state in a Jungian manner. Many books. The method suggested for meditation in almost all of these books is active imagination, a technique commonly applied, for example, in therapy, in which one's unconscious is allowed to be freely expressed through creative activities. Active imagination using tarot cards works like this. You take a card, look at it, let it inspire you, and think about what this card and its meaning means to you specifically, and how this can help you answer your own questions or resolve conflicts in your life. Pretty much exactly the same thing that using tarot cards in divination is supposed to do, just considerably less magic-y. In the Persona series, tarot cards are mostly used as a shorthand means to assign archetypes to personas, shadows, demons, characters, and characters' relationships to one another. For example, a demon or shadow assigned with the Emperor Arcana represents a masculine, rigid, controlling archetype or the negative aspects thereof. A persona of the Magician Arcana stands for an outward personality that follows an impulsive, performing archetype, sort of like an illusionist or juggler, someone who has a lot of energy but has to be careful to not get prideful or carried away with it. This is seen wonderfully in magician-type persona users like Yuka Ayase, Junpei Yori, or Yosuke Hanamura. A social link of the Fortune Arcana stands for a relationship that revolves around an archetype of sudden change or turns in fate that the participants themselves have no direct control over, but need to learn to use to their advantage anyway. Like how Keisuke's social link is all about how life keeps putting him into positions that tip him towards becoming a doctor, Ryuji's social link being all about how fate won't allow him to be a normal, happy person, and Naoto's social link being all about a game Naoto's grandfather and outside force set up, something neither her nor the protagonist had any influence on. As you can see, the meanings that tarot cards can take on are very flexible and individual to every person, and seeing how in Jungian psychology every archetype exists deep inside every person's unconscious, every single tarot arcana can also apply to every person in some way or another. It's not like Mitsuru is fully defined by the Empress Arcana's archetype, or like Yukiko never acts in any way that is not in line with the most common interpretations of the Priestess Arcana. It's just that these cards are what applies best to their current role in their relationships to others and their current situation in life. With time and changes in their lives, the dominant arcana to them might change, as seen with several P1 and P2 characters who changed their arcana between installments, and with characters like Aigis or Elizabeth, whose arcana have both changed to Fool due to them beginning a new chapter in their lives. So yeah, Young really didn't ever do anything with tarot, but that doesn't mean that using the Arcana wasn't a brilliant and wonderfully simple way to integrate the complicated concept of Jungian archetypes into the games without confusing positively everyone ever, so kudos on that. However, the Arcana are not a surefire personality indicator, and their interpretations are very flexible and definitely not static. In other words, all those persona-themed Arcana personality tests you may have seen on the internet. I'm gonna be talking some more about the meaning of the Arcana in relation to specific character arcs in some of my upcoming videos. Until then, however, see ya!
Be careful, everyone!
Hey, I've made it to the second episode, and actually somewhat on time too. So if you like what you saw, subscribe to me, follow me on Tumblr, Twitter, write me in the comments what you'd like to see for future episodes, and consider supporting me on Patreon. Well
Lateral move! Shadow Flash! Sword Dance!
Have you learned your lesson?
Alright, so I made the Persona power levels chart a while back. And I think 9 is the stories of the games. Now, alright, so I made the Persona power levels chart a while back. And I think that was a success. That inspired you, further, to go under the much more challenging undertaking of making a power level chart for the Shin Megami Tensei series.
Yeah, and this was a pain in the ass, because Shin Megami Tensei is a lot more complicated. It's a lot of figuring out, like, kind of lore stuff. It's less feat dependent, and more just kind of like who logically should beat who, and who does beat who, just in the stories of the games.
Now, some non-mainline SMT characters have slipped their way in here.
Yeah, this is more a Megami Tensei, but not Persona chart, because trying to figure out Persona and SMT in the same picture is like a fucking nightmare.
With that in mind, let's start from the bottom. Now we're here. F tier, the normies.
So, at F tier, at the very bottom, we have normies. Just average run-of-the-mill humans that have no particular power and are just kind of alive. The thing that's, like, weird about Shin Megami Tensei...
I think we are to the point where we need to finally delve into the rest of the story here. I only have 4 hours until I have to shave for the first time in 2 months. And then I have to stretch. An hour between, well, not the hour after I'm done shaving while my face is healing up is gonna be me cleaning a room. And then my weekend's gonna be over. Boy. So let's go ahead and keep moving forward. Probably should save before fighting in the arena. Good point. Let's begin.
It's almost time for our first match. Oh man, I'm getting kinda nervous. The wait is killing me. How about you, Haseo? Are you okay? Nervous or anything?
Not really.
Hey, fighting in the arena is exactly the same as hunting monsters, you know. No different.
But with all of the people around watching you, it does make for a lot of pressure. Long ago, when I just started, I tried participating in the arena. I was so nervous I couldn't do anything, and we ended up getting beaten really badly.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. You okay with this, Atali?
Hey, Atali.
Huh? What is it? Is something wrong?
She's pretty nervous.
What's up, everyone? Don't worry. I'll do my best.
We know you will.
By the way...
Huh?
What did I do out there?
Well, why don't you focus on healing skills?
Okay, understood.
I hope we'll be okay.
Well, let's go and find out.
Oh boy. You can view information on the opponent and arena ranking on the panel walls. Warp to Coliseum, view the warp point when you're ready. It's possible to retire with no penalty by selecting retire from the warp menu.
Now is the time for the festivities to begin! You calling us low-ranking cubs? Hey! More like a sleeping lion hungry for its first kill. Let your beastly instincts run wild. Fight's dirty. Nice compliment. While they're asleep, or while they're awake, they think of nothing other than the slaughter. This is their paradise. Just
Okay,
look at them,
I'm way
folks.
over leveled for this shit.
Ready to rip the opponent in half.
I'm so happy.
How will this fight end?
Arena battles are basically the same as the regular battles we're always used to fighting. The main thing that's different this time is that we're fighting against other players, and we can get hit with a Rengeki attack as well. The most important thing in the arena is a counter strategy to our opponent's Rengeki attacks. Oh, look, Haseo! The enemy's trying to use arts! Best thing is to use the counter attack. If you use a skill trigger attack on an enemy while they're in this state, you can activate a counterattack. Not only will a counterattack completely guard against an enemy's arts, and on top of that, it'll even lower their morale gauge. You can defend against.
In other words, the more I use them.
That's it. Our opponents can also use counterattacks, so be really careful when using the skill trigger.
Sword dance!
Good. I knew someone battle-hardened like you could do it. Now you have an efficient way of raising your skill level.
Yeah. Yeah, like we'd lose to that team. Hey. Adelie?
Now she's addicted!
We did it!
Wait a minute! Hey!
Hug.
Oh, Haseo, we really did it! We won, didn't we? Didn't we?
Okay, get off of me!
But I bet that other team is feeling really disappointed right now since they lost.
Huh? Are you still talking about that?
But...
Come on, they're the same as you, right?
Huh?
Look, the more times that you lose, the sweeter the victory will taste. Trust me.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you're right. Then I'll pray for them to win in their next match. That's okay, right?
Yes! That's exactly
You
right.
idiot. Coming from the victors, that would just sound like you're trying to rub it in.
Exactly!
Oh, sorry. I'll try to be more careful from now on.
Alright, let's build our rank. We need to get strong enough to be able to challenge.
Are you delighted with your maiden victory or what? Not bad at all. Congratulations, little Haseo.
Man,
Really?
you're persistent. I might have to start respecting you just for that.
But remember, your rank is still dead last. You're nowhere close. So, hurry up and climb all the way up the rankings, and then you can come against me. This time, I'll be sure to love you to death. Ha 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 ha!
New mail. Be right back. Official forum shit. Medic Union Guild. As leader of Project EU, I would like to spill my proverbial guts to you. Go to the lost grounds at the Hull's Grand Cathedral at the hidden Forbidden Holy Ground. We got the address back. What the fuck?
The Project GU leader? What? Has Yata completely lost his mind?
Yes. Beautiful entrance. Sexy fucking entrance. Something else happened in the real world. More community forums. Crimson Versus update. Wait. There's something down at the bottom. Okay. Let's play some time. I'm actually going to change the wallpaper this time. I'm sorry, and Endrids makes me wet, like really, really wet. Hey, I didn't know. Did you know there's a thread attached on the rumors board? Okay. Okay. Some new stuff in the real world. A string of court cases involving property and online games have been making the rounds in our court system. Jeez. Massive newspaper dropping in circulation because of the advent of online news. I mean, that already happened here in the real world, so that's kind of interesting.
The Project GU leader? What? Has Yata completely lost his mind? I guess I better go to the Hulgrans Cathedral at Delta Hidden Forbidden Holy Ground.
Everyone's busy, so I'm assuming that's because we've got to do with that next. The Hulgrans Cathedral is back. Yata never leaves that room except for when he's offline. Even then, he's normally in the project headquarters in the real world. So, what the fuck, guys?
Very nice. I see that you have fallen straight into my trap, Tri-Edge. I have finally found you. Come and become bound as you deserve.
Who are you?
Ha! You pathetic human beings are not worthy enough to know what my name is. Slow Doberman! Pyros the Third! At your service! Ta-da!
You just told me.
Oh.
Also, I better tell you that you've got the wrong guy. I am not Tri-Edge.
Please accept my apologies. I had truly thought that you, sir, were Tri-Edge.
So tell me, why are you looking for him?
Well, listen to this. I have a completely hypothetical story for you. Imagine, if you will, a graphic designer at a certain game company.
CC.
And that man possessed the greatest confidence in his graphical creations. He logged into his company's game to experience his creations in their native environment. But one day he saw something he couldn't believe right before his very eyes. His super amazing, ultra incredibly cool graphics that he slaved over for many waking hours had been all etched up with these hideous triangular monstrosities. What blasphemy! What lunacy! Now, having transformed into a demon fueled by the fires of revenge, this hypothetical man used the forums to lay an impeccable trap, a foolproof plan for the culprit.
Is that story really hypothetical?
Of course it is. I said that it was, didn't I?
Anyway, you're no match for Tri-Edge. Stop chasing him, for your own sake.
Don't try to dissuade me! I'm never going to stop until I can find a way to trap him! So I guess you're looking for Tri-Edge too?
Yeah. Hey, could you please tell me if you find any more areas with Tri-Edge signs in them?
Although you are dressed in some of the deepest black known to man, looking at you, I believe I do detect a little glimmer of justice deep inside your eyes.
Good
Very well, he of fair eyes. It would appear that you and I are partners in our quest to find Tri-Edge.
She does have beautiful eyes.
I accept you as a fellow hunter of Tri-Edge and pledge to fight by your side until my life gives out.
What? Well, whatever. So, what's this about you being Project GU's leader?
So, you also wish to enter my guild, huh? It is not easy to join me, since the condition is you must be able to draw. After all, GU stands for Graphics Unbelievable.
So, do you know anyone named Yada?
No, who's that?
Forget it. Never mind.
Wrong,
Okay.
GU.
Well then, I'm off to formulate another plan. May the stars shine down upon you until you arrive at the end of your journey. I'm off!
I feel like I just shaved 10 years off of my life. Guess I'll
Same.
head back to town.
Fuck, man. Just what? What are you doing, Gaspard?
Gaspard!
Huh? Oh, it's you, Haseo! What's up?
What's up with you? You don't look so good.
I'm fine. I'm pretty much the same as always.
All right, then. I've got to fight at the arena to raise my rank.
Gotta be joking. Wrong button, damn it. Shit. Okay. Okay, so we're already higher level than the area that she got, but at least we have it unlocked in our
Now is the time for the festivities to begin! You calling us low-ranking cubs? Hey! More like a sleeping lion hungry for its first kill! Let your beastly instincts run wild! Fight's dirty, nice compliment! While they're asleep, or while they're awake, they think of nothing other than the slaughter! This is their paradise!
Most of these guys will be able to take out in one
Just look
hit.
at them, folks! Ready to rip the opponent in half! How will this fight end? Ogre sword!
This is a little bit closer to right, yeah?
Ogre sword! Sparrow counter! Ogre sword! Ogre sword!
Okay, now we're back. We seem to be right at the maximum tier for the for what seems to be for this arena area. Like, we're almost the same level as some of the higher ranking players.
Ogre sword!
Seemed to match us mostly against rank 13 people last time. Now that we're bronze, it'll probably advance our rank to... We're gonna keep fighting until we're...
Now is the time for the festivities to begin! You calling us low-ranking cubs? Hey! More like a sleeping lion hungry for its first kill! Let your beastly instincts run wild! Fight's dirty, nice compliment! While they're asleep, or while they're awake, they think of nothing other than the slaughter! This is their paradise! Just look at them, folks! Ready to rip the opponent in half! How will this fight end?